So the official translation of 983 is here, and one of the more exciting chapters we've had in a while, so I'm really excited to break this down. I know I've been extremely critical of the cover page, but to bring a positive spin, and that mostly has to do with Capone maybe going back to Wano. Other than that, I'm not here for it, but I cannot overlook the fact that Pound possibly being here could lead to Capone and them going back to Wano. Reason being, revenge, or just to get Capone to Wano again. I still firmly believe a supernova reunion is perfect here. Since we have so many of them in one area already, why not bring a Rouge, Capone, and Bonnie? Anyway, let's talk about this fantastic chapter. Alright, so I touched on the Perospero stuff already, but let's dig a bit deeper. I didn't really critique Perospero's decision because I think it's the correct decision. We saw him do this with Big Mom already in Whole Cake Island, so this was something we expected from Perospero. From people I talk to all the time, they have a lot of expectations for Perospero because he's the eldest son and he's really good with his devil fruit. That's why everything that transpired with King and Marco, it really didn't make much sense to me because the Big Mom pirates, they are competent when they have to be, but for the most part, they're portrayed in a light that doesn't seem to be that competent, and those two moments were an example of that. They have so many things at their disposal to be able to withstand a kick from Marco and King. It was just unbelievable. So for Perospero taking things into his own hands, first you question the timing, right? Because King and Marco, they happen like weeks apart, but it's like, why did it take so long? One explanation could be that at this point, Perospero got separated from his crew after the ship fell down a second time. So now he's taking things into his own hands and going to Big Mom to somehow sabotage this alliance. And to be honest, the official translations make his intentions sound a bit more sinister. He's saying he's not taking this alliance seriously and that the Big Mom pirates will reign supreme. I gave a quick comparison to Shia from Hunter x Hunter. For people that read Hunter x Hunter, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but this is exactly what Perospero is doing. Quickly, without spoiling too much, Shia was a loyal executive who didn't necessarily agree with what his king wanted. So therefore, in multiple ways, tried to sabotage or destroy alliances or relationships his king had built, mainly because he felt like too many associations were not good for his king. In this situation, Perospero is doing the same. He feels like at the end of the day, this alliance will not work. Most of us felt that way when we first saw it. I feel that way, absolutely. So for Perospero doing this, I agree with it, and it adds to the arc. I've been thinking about this for a while in regards to the Big Mom pirates betraying the Beast pirates. I was just waiting for the first domino to fall, like which one would it be? And it's Perospero. Another thing about this scene is Perospero is by himself. That brought about some criticism, but for me, again, with him possibly being separated because the ship fell, and also Perospero was the one who was not really with the alliance to start with. The competent members of the crew, you know, with Daifuku, Wandor, Smoothie, for the most part, they were following Big Mom, especially Smoothie. Anything Big Mom said, she was willing to go with. So for Perospero, whose goal is to sabotage this alliance, bringing someone or anyone that's devoted to Big Mom in that way, it'll be detrimental to his mission. So him going off on his own, it makes a lot of sense. I'm really excited for this. There's a lot of ways this can go, which I will talk about. We have a break this week, so it's a lot to get into, but I'm here for it. Big Mom pirates being competent again, they've been the subject of a lot of criticism, but I enjoy them as a whole, and this is not my Katakuri bias speaking at all. Someone had mentioned on Twitter, I forgot exactly who, I'm sorry, when they talked about the transformation of the tank and Big Mom's comments. They were combining the two and saying that Big Mom probably turned the tank into her homie. I'm not going to go there because I think Big Mom was referencing two different parties. I believe the transformation had more to do with Frankie's abilities and his equipment overall, but I like the idea that Big Mom may have transformed this thing into a homie. That's why she wasn't too worried about them running away, because she knows where her homies are, right? I like that. Don't agree with it, but I like how much we're thinking here. Yeah, Nami, Carrot, all that stuff is cool. Quickly before I talk about Sanji, the aesthetic of Big Mom's homies in Wano is dope. Definitely a more sinister vibe, as opposed to Whole Cake Island, which is more bright and vibrant, which I think is part of setting the tone, where in this case, things are not as happy-go-lucky as they were in Whole Cake Island, which they really weren't. It was like a facade. But I guess in Onigashima, things are exactly what they seem. Like, people are not happy here. So I like that. It's no dressing it up. What you see is what you get. Now to Sanji. Expected, right? And I said in my review, the gags are part of his personality. However, there was a silver lining. I didn't get too much into it, but now it's time. In this particular panel, where Sanji says he's not giving up on finding ladies. That's what the official says, as opposed to prostitutes, which I think is cleaned up because it's a lot of kids that reads this. So it's like, they're prostitutes, but they can't say that. So ladies, quote unquote, bit of a stretch, but whatever. Sanji on solo missions, that's when he shines. Sanji is the most clutch Straw Hat. He comes in times of need. He will always be where he needs to be. So for Oda, this is a smart way, I think a clever way, to separate him from the Straw Hats. People are saying, well, Sanji abandoned Nami and Carrot. Well, I think in this instance, Sanji wouldn't be able to stop Big Mom anyway, but If Nami and Carrot are in dire need, Sanji will be there. People are saying, what ladies? We didn't see any women in the pleasure quarter. Well, say for instance, they're women being held up against their will, and they're crying their eyes out. For Sanji, he can never ignore the tears of a woman. So for me, that's the only reason I can see why he would abandon women like Carrot and Nami, who are part of his crew, but overall they're women, because the other women were in greater need. So I expect when Sanji goes somewhere, he will see women that are held against their will, that are prostitutes, because I don't know if Kaido's gonna have these prostitutes or these women of the pleasure quarter just running around Onigashima in this time of celebration. People were also saying, well, no one else heard anything, why did he? Well, Sanji's always been able to hear the tears of a woman. So Sanji will shine going forward. Like, I firmly expect that. If he doesn't, then there's another conversation to be had. Momonosuke and Orochi. The crucifixion is happening, and one of my friends actually gave me an idea, or they brought a perspective I wasn't thinking about. They said, what if Momonosuke dies here? A lot of people feel like Law is the person that's going to die. What if Momonosuke is the person that dies? What if he's a sacrifice? And I'm not opposed to that. It would be a rallying cry for the Alliance if Momonosuke did die here, but it could really go the other way. If Momonosuke dies here, that could severely cripple the Alliance and their morale. Also, I wouldn't mind if Momonosuke had a role in the future, especially if Two Piece is a thing. But I think there's a lot more to be fleshed out here in regards to Orochi and Momonosuke, but we'll talk about that another time. Power scaling in this chapter. Well, people are using it with Kid and Zoro. I don't know. I'm not there with it. Zoro's puffing hard. Kid is puffing hard. They're fighting fodder. I think the point of this panel is to somewhat reflect what happened on Zou. Kaido has a huge army. There are a lot of ability users and they keep coming. They're like zombies. So I don't think this is a moment to power scale because it's showing, again, the mindset of Kaido's crew on one hand, and also how resilient they are. I think something that's also not coming across as well in this chapter is that we're in a full-blown war. It started. I think in the anime is going to feel a bit more like war because you're going to see people like rubbing against each other, walking past each other. And I think it's hard to feel that because the major fights haven't started as yet. So in this instance, with Kid catching people off guard, Zoro saying it's too many of them, we have to remember they are outnumbered severely. It was like 5,000 of 30,000. It was insane, right? So at this point, every single individual, they have to take out thousands of people, or at least hundreds. When I say individuals, the prominent members, because the fodder, they're getting taken out left and right. But we have to realize that, guys, we're in a full-blown war. Luffy and Ulti, the best part of the chapter. Honestly, there's a few things I want to highlight. The competence on Ulti's side. Love it. Too many times in One Piece, females are relegated to the subservient role like Black Maria, and they always take a back seat to their counterparts. In this instance, Ulti is clearly, in my opinion, the superior fighter to Page One. She is the one that took control. She's the aggressor. She's a thinker. Ulti is probably my favorite Flying Six member right now, and that may change the more we see them. But Ulti, in this chapter, very impressive. We'll go through it. First off, allegiance. Luffy's saying he's going to be Pirate King. Ulti is immediately displeased with that and goes in for a headbutt. Something I also want to reference that people are bringing up to me. Luffy's subtle use of future sight or future sensing, however you want to say it. Yes, Ulti's form indicates that a headbutt is coming. It's not a guarantee. Luffy saw it. Said a headbutt? Another thing, Ulti's possible use of King's Haki. While I would be on board, I don't think it's King's Haki. Main reason being, the people around them were not knocked out. It's an arm and Haki clash, but I would not be opposed to that. She seems to have the personality type of a Conqueror's Haki user, and I like her a lot. So that's dope. And something else I want to point out, there's so much going on here. And this is what made it a fantastic chapter because it's just a lot going on, action heavy, and very well paced. So, after clashing with Luffy, she understands this guy is no joke. And in the official, the father says, oh no, he's dead. You definitely split his skull open. And then she says, then where's that Haki coming from? Luffy's starting to really exude the confidence of a king, right? And I think his presence is growing. In a way, Ulti could still sense his Haki. But that goes back to Ulti, clearly a great user of observation Haki. But even with that, she could not stop Luffy from wrangling her by the horns and then getting a nice quick gear third punch into Page One. You know how quick that has to be? Because Luffy had to blow into his arm and manage to punch Page One while he's off guard. Rather not off guard, off kilter. That is wildly impressive. But something to be noted here is that Ulti went from her hybrid form, or let's say Ulti went from her regular form to hybrid back to her full dinosaur form. Why? Well, I think for one, the hybrid form is the best form for fighting, but every form has their benefits. Ulti went back to her full dinosaur form mainly because she tried to tie Luffy down. I think your full Zoan form is probably physically your strongest form because we saw when she was holding down Luffy, she's in a full dinosaur form. So I think when she's throwing hands, she goes hybrid. But I think one of her specials is full dinosaur form, hold you down, then an ulti meteor. So I like the subtle ways Oda is showing fighting styles or nuances of fights in this quick exchange. It's actually pretty brilliant. In regards to the conversation about her forcing Luffy to gear forth, if it's a pure 1v1, where Luffy and ulti, they're in an arena, in the mirror world, let's say, would ulti force Luffy to go gear forth? With his training, she shouldn't, but maybe that's underestimating ulti. Or maybe that's overestimating Luffy. In most of Luffy's fights, he's caught off guard and then he's forced to overcompensate with these gears. I think ulti could push Luffy to gear forth if it's a 1v1, but it shouldn't last very long once he goes to gear forth. Also, Luffy has not used his new technique once, Ryo. And personally, I think the reason being is that ulti should be knocked out from one Ryo punch. Seemingly, right? Based on how strong it should be. And I thought that Luffy would incorporate it as he's going along to get better with it. I know he's training with trees, but I'm training with actual people, even though they're fodder in comparison to Kaido. I thought we'd see it a bit more, a bit earlier, but I guess we gotta wait and see. Now to the talking point of the chapter. Yamato. There's a lot that I don't think I have enough time to cover in this video, but there's a few things I want to talk about. This has kind of altered the direction of Wano. One, because Yamato is a full-grown boy, right? Full-grown man. Secondly, because he's really strong. I'm not sure if ulti's done, but coming in with a Thunder Bagua, exactly like his father, disposing of one of the Flying Six, and then being on the side of Straw Hat Luffy, that is extremely concerning in regards to Kaido's side and his alliance. Because what the hell happened? Like, what's going on? There are a lot of theories running rampant right now, which I will talk about tomorrow in regards to Yamato and what I expect from him, his motivations, his future. But I'll say this here. Yamato may be the character we remember the most from the Wano arc. If Oda does this correctly, Yamato will definitely be an unforgettable character. Yes, the homage to Odin is written all over him. Yamato could be Odin in real time. Again, there's so much speculation there. Literally, there's a lot you can speculate, but the incorporation of Yamato here is insane. And the symbolism of what he means is insane. One thing I'll also point out, it looks like he has a Shimotsuki emblem on what he's wearing. Like, this dude is straight up a rebellious kid that is using Kaido's techniques, but doesn't really like Kaido to the point that he's waiting for Straw Hat Luffy. Where did you hear about Straw Hat Luffy? From whom? People were saying maybe he spoke with Ace. Maybe this is a way to reintroduce Ace again. It's really a lot to find out, but Yamato, Kaido's kid, is an ally of Straw Hat Luffy. Guys, the Wano arc, for some people who think it's been disappointing, a huge turn may be coming. Literally major stuff. Absolutely love the chapter. I'm saddened that we're on break next week. This chapter gave us a lot to talk about. Wano is here, guys, and I really can't wait for the next chapter. But guys, give me your thoughts. How do you feel about this chapter? Do you think the hype is warranted? And what are your expectations for Yamato? Because I have some huge ones, honestly. Like, I have some crazy expectations for Yamato and how he came to be. It's really insane. But guys, give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BrogDH. Follow me on Instagram at brogdy.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Be sure to follow my Twitch as well. We're doing The Last of Us 2 playthrough right now. So following, subbing, all that stuff is greatly appreciated. So thank you guys so much. Again, like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.